Hey guys, it is Kale Frank. It's been a while. It has been a while. Thank you very much for watching this video. First and foremost, you might notice from the title, this is a new series that I started up. This is the pilot, I guess. I guess you would call it the pilot, but I am talking about Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. And don't worry, this won't be a long feature or anything, but this is more just me giving my opinions and thoughts and critiques, I guess, of various topics. That's, I think, the whole point of the series, the Let's Talk About blank series. And today, let's talk about Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. So what is MGS 5 Ground Zeroes? Well, firstly, I'm only 16 months late. I think it came out last March, like March of 2014. However, I am playing the PC version, which came out in December of 2014. So I'm not super late. I'm only about 8 months or so late. But what is MGS 5 Ground Zeroes? Well, Ground Zeroes is really unique, first and foremost. As a video game, I think what it does is pretty unique. It's a prologue to Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. But video games usually aren't released as prologues, or usually you don't get snippets of games unless they're episodic, which is, that's a let's talk about in its own right. MGS 5 Ground Zeroes it's not a demo. Well, it's kind of a demo, and that's the tricky part about the game. So I think it's a brilliant concept that the game essentially does everything that a prologue should do, because it introduces like the large concepts to the player to help them understand the game in time for the full retail release. So things like the controls, the graphics, the audio, the voice work, all those kinds of features are in Ground Zeroes, and those will be present in a similar capacity in The Phantom Pain. Almost like the creators are saying, Konami is saying, hey, this is what you can expect of The Phantom Pain times 50, times 30, times whatever. The point is that the game works. Like the systems, like the mechanics of the game are all good. And I guess the other good thing about Ground Zeroes is that you can use it as not really a demo, but you can use it as a way to kind of talk about features and mechanics and get player feedback on said mechanics. I think it works well for both the hardcore and the casual crowd, Ground Zeroes, because the hardcore fans will like the taste of MGS. It's been a long time since the last Metal Gear Solid game. And so this is a way to get your hands on the game, or at least a snippet of the game, about a year to year and a half before the game's released. So hardcore players are going to want to go in. It's kind of like a sandbox. They're going to want to fool around. The actual Ground Zeroes gameplay, there are several missions that you can unlock. There's the one main story mission, and that spanned me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, which is fairly short, and that's probably the main knock on Ground Zeroes. But if you're a hardcore fan or you're super into the game, you love stealth games, you like kind of toying around in a sandbox level, Ground Zeroes is great because they take the same map and they reuse it for like 5 or 6 different missions, I think. And that same map, you experience at different times of day. There are specific objectives, like unique things you're supposed to do in the game. And I think all of those, if you like going in and like, playing with the AI, you like trying to find hidden weapons or any sort of secrets, there are a bunch of collectibles, there's all sorts of stuff. Like there's plenty to see and do. There's leaderboard support, there are challenges you unlock. And the game even has a conversion to the Phantom Pain proper. So you can upload your game save from Ground Zeroes to the Phantom Pain and experience more stuff. I think you get a couple things like the sneaking suit from Ground Zeroes transfer over. I think you build up your base and you build up your army in the Phantom Pain. There are soldiers and stuff you can get in Ground Zeroes that will carry over. But I think the game is also great for casual players. Now, the game length aside, like I guess the price to length aside, casual players will enjoy the game because it's a well-made game. The mechanics are great. The sound design is absolutely unreal. Yeah, the visual design is cool too. But the game works. Like the mechanics are solid. Like there's a new reflex mode added. If you get spotted, you can try and take out a guard that spotted you right away to avoid detection. But there's the classic stealth gameplay where you can crouch walk, you can crawl. You can hide in areas like hide in the foliage. There's lock picking. There's plenty of sneaking. You can interrogate guards, or you can use guards to call their comrades to lure out other guards to certain locations, set up traps. And there's also a good amount of armament, so if you want to play the game more brute force style, well, there are machine guns in the game. You can get a shotgun, sniper rifle, and just go crazy. Just kill people. you can also do it for fun. I mean, if you don't even want to complete the objectives, you can just go around and try and kill everyone on the map or something. Which is really cool. So I think that there's plenty of content for both hardcore and casual players, but the main downside of the game, I think, is the length. Like, there is lots to see and do, as I kind of mentioned earlier, but people, like, let's say I paid $40 to $45 for this game. Like, I played it and replayed it 3 or 4 times, and I got maybe 8 to 10 hours of gameplay. That's not bad for modern game standards, but I might feel a little bit disappointed because there's only one location in the game. I'm replaying the same missions over and over. It's more about the fun that I make for myself that's going to dictate the longevity with Ground Zeroes. There's a lot of things it does well, and I consider myself a huge stealth fan. I've played every Metal Gear game outside of a couple like Acid. I've played all the Splinter Cell titles except for the newest one. I forget the name of it, but I consider myself like a pretty big stealth gamer, and this game does stealth well. I think the game itself, the mechanics are very tight. It's a polished experience. Like, the game was supposed to come out alongside the Phantom Pain as kind of like an add-on, I guess, adventure or whatever. But after the Phantom Pain got pushed back in development in its dev cycle, I think Hideo Kojima said, hey, let's release this early. And I think it was a smart idea because fans who want to get their hands on Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay are going to buy it, and casual fans are, hey, I could use a new game. This game looks pretty cool. This game looks pretty polished. I'm going to check it out. Are going to buy it as well. And I think that'll help just build the hype train, really, for MGS 5, The Phantom Pain, and that's pretty awesome. So why should you play this game? Well, I kind of already mentioned it. There's a lot that the game has going for it with only a couple negatives. Now, I bought the game on Steam. I am predominantly a PC gamer, and I got it on a Steam sale. I want to say I got it for roughly $15, and for $15, I feel like the amount of content is great. Getting, let's say, the playing all the missions, doing all the challenges, let's say playing, 10 to 15 hours, let's say for $15 is great. Now, if I paid $40 for it, I might be a little more leery. I might have a little bit more of a negative opinion on the game because I paid a lot more for what I got. But the game itself, like standalone, great. But if you're looking at it as, hey, I only have $60 and that is supposed to last me for the next 6 months to buy all games, perhaps Ground Zeroes doesn't give you the best value for your money. To put the content into context, after finishing the main story, which took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and just that main story mission, I was 8% complete through what Ground Zeroes had to offer. I was done less than 10% of everything Ground Zeroes has to offer, and that took me a couple hours of play. That was the main crux of the story experience, the cinematic experience of Ground Zeroes. So I think that kind of speaks for itself. I think in all, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes is a solid concept. It's a great game, and I think that provided you got it, you didn't mind the dollar value compared to hours of gameplay, I think that it is definitely worth a buy.